Hey Pittsburgh, if you like walking or running and you love wine, then you don't want to miss the 5K Run Walk at Stone Villa Winery on April 27th. This event is open to all ages, and those over 21 will get a souvenir wine glass and pour of wine on race day. Plus, you'll be supporting the Nicholas Ritchell Foundation, which grants wishes to young adults and their families battling cancer. Sign up at wine5k.com/citycast and use the code CITY, that's CITY, to get 15% off the registration cost this week only. Rain or shine, there will be wine on April 27th. Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, the cherry blossoms are blooming and basketball is in the air. We're talking about what locals can expect from the big dance here in town, our first impressions of a very ambitious project on either side of the West End Bridge, and we've got a little trivia to celebrate Fred Rogers' 96th birthday. It's March 22nd, the Friday News Roundup. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. I'm back on mic with CityCast Francesca Dabecco. It has been a big week for the two of us, huh?
Yeah, it really has. This will be my second day in a row on the pod. So happy to be here again and in the company of you.
Lucky us. And we're with one of our best Pittsburgh media buddies, Gavin. Welcome back to the show.
Such a treat. Thanks for the invite.
Welcome, Kevin. It's so fun to hear your voice in my earphones again. Wait. Earphones, headphones, earbuds,
headphones,
whatever. We're here.
Well, it has been frigid this week after having like a spate of 70-degree days. I'm curious if either of yins have gotten to spot a cherry blossom here in Pittsburgh. Like now is the time if you're in DC or others, but we have a few here. I just haven't actually gotten to see them this year.
Yeah, I unfortunately haven't either. There's some really pretty blooms in my neighborhood, like magnolia trees, but not quite the cherry blossoms. I hear they are blooming up at North Park along Marshall Lake there. It's so beautiful because the nonprofit Pittsburgh Sakura Project has been planting and maintaining these trees since 2009, actually.
Kevin, what about you? Are you a cherry blossom person?
I have not been by North Park, so I'm going to go hunting if they're still there. But this crazy weather you mentioned remind me a couple years ago, my peach tree blossoms were in full bloom. I was looking forward to it. And then we had weather like we had the other day, strong winds and snow. And the next day, all my peach blossoms were on the ground. So
Does that mean you don't get peaches? Is that how that works?
Some blossoms came back, but they were many, many fewer.
Oh, that's such a sad story, Kevin.
Well, I hope you get to see some this year and get some more blossoms. Check them out before the wind takes them away.
We're really full of hope for Kevin on the show today. Let's jump into the news of the week. Kevin, I absolutely know what you have been watching, or I guess I should say waiting for, because March Madness is finally here.
Well, it is. And yes, I got a preview because I did watch the first 4 games earlier this week. But yes, March Madness, to me, it's the best sports time of the year.
I love this.
If you're not a sports person, March Madness is the annual college basketball tournament. It's always this time of year, March Madness. Colleges all over the country compete to be in it, but cities all over the country also vie to host all of these tournaments. I didn't realize this when I was a kid, but like as I've gotten older, I realized like they don't all happen in the same place. There are just way too many games happening concurrently to make that work. And one of them is here in Pittsburgh.
That's right. And teams, as you mentioned, aren't just playing in Pittsburgh, although there are 8 teams here now. A Pittsburgh team is also competing. All right.
Yeah, and as we're recording this, men's games are about to tip off at PPG Paints Arena. They're happening Thursday and Saturday this week, but March Madness for college men and women will be almost nonstop until the championships on April 7th and 8th. So if you have a college basketball fan in your life, that's when it's officially over. The same day as the eclipse, actually.
And Kevin, your alma mater, Duquesne University, is back in the tournament for the first time in 47 years.
47 years. Yes.
Wait, Kevin, isn't that game about to start? Are you missing it because of us?
And you're wearing the hat and the shirt, I should add, so you were ready.
Yeah.
I am ready. I have my red on for Duquesne, and I'm recording it, and I will avoid any score updates until I can watch it.
So they're playing BYU in Omaha, Nebraska. But Pittsburgh is hosting other teams for rounds 1 and 2 of the tournament this weekend. It's just really cool to see how Pittsburgh lights up for any major sporting event, but especially college, because I feel like college students and the families and everything and the fans, like it's just a different level of revelry anytime they're in town.
Yeah, Kevin, are you excited?
Yeah, I am. I'm very excited. Hey, this long wait of 47 years. But I was watching the Atlantic 10 championship game on Sunday, and I was nervous. They blew a big lead in the second half, the Dukes did. But they did hang on to win. Megan and I were texting. Megan, did you think they were going to blow it?
Honestly, my primary thought watching that game is that it didn't matter who ultimately won because whoever won was not going to win their next game. Like it was sort of a sad showing on the basketball court, but I was very happy to see the local boys pulled it out.
Great. You know, the idea of 47 years ago, I was 21 at the time, and I was broadcasting play-by-play of the Dukes games.
Oh, wow.
On WDUQ, but we were public radio. Didn't have the money to send me on the road. So I had to sit back here in Pittsburgh and watch and listen to the game. But it was a great season leading up to that. And I certainly enjoyed them winning what was the Eastern 8 at that time. That was the precursor of the Atlantic 10, the conference the Dukes are currently in.
What a fun memory.
How did the Dukes do back then, by the way? I don't think I ever asked you.
Can we move on? No, they lost in the first round to VMI. So,
well, I hope that they don't do that this time. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they get at least another game.
That would be nice. I think they have a chance. I believe they have a chance to do that.
Pittsburgh always shows up for their teams, though. So how does this all impact Pittsburgh? It's got to benefit the city for hosting these things.
Yeah, I mean, it just brings a ton of people here. I knew that it had happened before. I didn't realize it was so many times. So I guess this is the 7th time that we've hosted some series of the games. So like right now, there are fans of 8 different college teams, all seemingly like converging downtown, at least at some point. One of them, Kentucky, is considered a favorite to win it all.
They are. But you know what? We don't know who's going to win the games. We think Kentucky might. But
Pittsburgh will win because it'll get all the traffic.
It'll get the traffic and it will get the dollars, the revenue. The shore winners are the restaurants, the bars, the hotels, the merch sellers, etc. So I did a little research, and according to Sports Pittsburgh, that's an arm of the marketing team, Visit Pittsburgh, they said that 2 years ago, the economic impact, the infusion of dollars was $10.4 million. And in 2018, the previous time the tournament was here, it was a little over $8 million. And the experts expect about $10.5 million again this time around. It sounds like a lot of money, and I guess it is. But Megan and Francesca, I got to ask you a question. Did either of you go to see Taylor Swift when she did her 2 concerts here in Pittsburgh?
I did not. I was deathly ill with another daycare virus.
Oh, I remember now. Yes.
I was going to be one of the picnic blanket people out in front of the stadium. I was never going to attend, to be clear.
Kevin, yes. Taylor Swift has all of my money. I did go.
Well,
and that brought in a ton of money for the city. So that was really cool to see. So this, hopefully it can, extend that benefit for folks here in downtown.
well, Taylor got some of your money, and the city and others got $46 million from those two concerts, by the way.
Yeah. So don't forget, when you're down there, go to the restaurants and bars, especially near the arena, get a bite to eat, a beverage before or after the game. It can be a big plus for their sales. And it's a better than normal March weekend for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even if it pales in comparison to Taylor, I imagine pretty much everything does. The Trib said that officials at Doubletree and the William Penn were calling for sellouts of their rooms. So it's not nothing. Also, I do think it's fun to always, like anytime tournaments like this start, to kind of check out some of the off-court stuff because it can be really cute, even if you're not a sports person. Like, for example, the coach of Kentucky, who is playing here in town, that's John Calipari, and he's from the Pittsburgh area. He was born in Moon Township, played for Clarion, coached at Pitt very briefly. I don't love him because he did my alma mater very dirty later in his career, but he's a Pittsburgh boy, so I will give him that.
You have a long memory about what he did down at Memphis.
Look, it was 2008, and I'm still upset.
Well, speaking of coaches, the Duquesne coach, Keith Dambrot, he announced earlier this week that he is retiring whenever the Dukes run in the tournament is over.
Aww.
Yeah. 7 seasons with Duquesne. He left Akron, actually, which was a bit of a surprise, Akron University, because Akron is his hometown. But he said the reason he wanted to come to Duquesne, he said this when he was hired, and he repeated it when he announced his retirement, was because his father, Sid, played on the Dukes teams in the early and mid-50s, and the Dukes were often number 1 during that time period. So he wanted to coach where his father played.
That's sweet. We love a legacy story.
That's really cute. When I was watching the game on Sunday, in those final seconds, because it's college basketball, so the last 2 minutes take 30 minutes. And they just kept flashing to the coach, number one, but also his wife on the sidelines, over and over and over again. And at first, I didn't even realize who she was because we'd had the sound down and we were, talking. But I was learning about her later. Donna, she's battling breast cancer right now. And so, it was, I'm sure, an incredibly emotional moment watching your partner, perform at this incredibly high level and, then ultimately, win and achieve. That's so cool.
And that's a big reason why he's retiring, so he can be with her.
And then the other thing, too, is that a lot of people have been talking about LeBron James, too, and why he's suddenly a Duquesne stan. He's the oldest player right now in the NBA, but he's also probably among the most famous. But I guess Dambrot was his high school basketball coach. So he's been posting all this stuff rah rah Duquesne, which is kind of cool to have one of the most famous basketball players in the league suddenly rooting for a hometown team.
That's very cool. I really appreciate you guys for educating me. I am not the best when it comes to Pittsburgh sports, especially college sports. But I do want to share, I saw this really cool story from Pittsburgh City Paper this week. This Duquesne University basketball player, Keandra Brown, they made their own athletic wear brand. It's really cool. She is Muslim, so she decided to make her own uniform that sort of aligns with her faith and is a little bit more modest, but something that anyone can wear that maybe is a little bit more feminine than an oversized men's jersey, which is what she was sort of resorting to. I just thought this was really cool. So, I at least have a little bit to offer in this conversation.
That's fun, getting everybody involved, even if you're not a big sports fan, such as you, Francesca.
Yeah, we'll have a link in the newsletter. It's called Uplift, her brand.
Anyway, Kevin, our fingers are crossed for you. We hope for the best.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
This one's for my parents out there. If you've got a kiddo ready for grades 9 through 12, City Charter High School is looking for you. They're hosting a new admissions open house on March 23rd from 10 a.m. to noon, where parents and prospective students can tour the school, check out classrooms, talk with teachers and student ambassadors, and apply, all right there in person. City High has been educating in the heart of downtown for over 20 years. Weekly schedules run Tuesday to Friday, year-round, and educators stay with the same students all 4 years. Plus, there's no tuition. All City High graduates complete college and career planning classes, a 13-week mentored internship, and get real-world experience with research, writing, problem-solving, and decision-making. And I kind of wish I'd learned this part sooner, even the art of presentation. If you want your youngin' to finish 12th grade with a resume, job training, and networking experience, consider City Charter High School. Visit cityhigh.org for more information or to apply today.
Megan, what about you? Other than basketball, what's something you've been interested in over the last week?
Well, we got some new plans for the potential future for the West End Bridge. The organization River Life put out their designs. Have y'all seen them?
Yeah, they were pretty detailed. I can definitely see the possibilities there.
Kevin, what was your first impression?
Basically, finally, but it's not done because this has been in the works and the dreams of River Life for quite some time.
Yeah, no kidding. I think they're kind of snazzy, but also kind of ridiculous. They've envisioned this new pedestrian and bicycle ramp to connect Manchester and the West End. So on the Manchester side, there's this huge spiral ramp and park space for community gatherings, I guess. And then on the other side, there's a ramp and spaces that lead into the neighborhood's business district. I love it in the abstract, but the huge ramp situation, I want to know how they're going to accomplish that. It seems hard. It's very cramped over there.
Yeah.
Hope the proof is in the plans. Mm-hmm. I remember talking to River Life's executive director, Matthew Galuzzo, a couple of years ago, and the West End project was a priority then, too. He said that the connection is the largest remaining gap in Pittsburgh's downtown network and a major missing link for some regional trail systems and part of River Life's Completing the Loop plan.
What is the loop exactly?
It links different trails in different locations up and down the river banks and across bridges.
Okay, so it's not that it goes exactly along the river bank, on all three rivers, but it at least connects. That's the goal?
That is the goal.
Okay.
I guess we'll see if this really does, complete the loop and be that missing piece then.
Completion seems like a far-fetched goal, but I like that we're adding new pieces. Let's keep adding new pieces.
Yeah, and according to this current design, it's actually going to be connected to the West End through an old railroad tunnel.
I love those. Have you ever gotten to ride your bike through them? They have a ton of them, like in Ohio Pile and along the Gap Trail and the C&O.
Yeah, they're super fun.
Are they spooky?
Depends on the tunnel. Some of the super short ones, not spooky. They're just really fun because then you're in darkness for just a second, but you can still see the light at the other end. Some of them are really difficult. I scared the heck out of myself once on one of them, like on that trip to DC, because I forgot I was wearing sunglasses and I was so disoriented and in the dark. No. I thought I was going to fall off my bicycle. It was bad.
Oh, you tell me these tunnels don't have signs like the turnpike tunnels? Remove sunglasses.
Look, they may have had something about turn your lights on or something, even an old one. I didn't catch it, obviously, and I was so scared. It was so uncomfortable,
Oh, no.
And it was drive a car through. I'm sure it's very quick, but to ride your bike through, at least the one I'm thinking of, it was a very long tunnel. It was rough.
Oh no.
I really hope this one is like the Fort Pitt tunnel, like where you can ride through it and then the city opens up and blooms for you. Wouldn't that be fun? Like the Fort Pitt tunnel view, but for pedestrians.
I definitely think that's the vibe they're shooting for. Megan, those tunnels you're referring to, I really like them when you're biking because if it's a hot day, it's normally pretty cool through the tunnels.
That's
so
true.
It's a nice cool off. But I am really curious about what this will do for those two neighborhoods that have sort of been cut off from other communities for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, the highway runs right through Manchester, right?
Yep.
And I know the West End has the trail there, and there are ways to get up on the bridge. It's just not the best. So this could be great for pedestrian business traffic, especially to get folks over from the West End. I guess I'm thinking about it from the Manchester perspective, but it would be really awesome if it works out for the West End too. I guess I'm just always skeptical about anything that requires the railroads to say yes to, because they usually don't.
You're not wrong.
Norfolk Southern always just shakes their head and says, nope, not here. Thank you.
You're not wrong. That's a valid concern. Hopefully it all works out. I guess we should mention this project is happening in part because of this $2 million grant from the Redevelopment Authority of Allegheny County's Trail Development Fund. Now, that's not enough for all of the project, but that's a big portion of it.
Well, that development fund, it's been fueling quite a few county projects, actually. So that's good news, and hopefully it's a wise use of the money.
Yeah, they've provided nearly $22 million in all for projects just like this.
And as far as what's next, we understand the plans are expected to be finalized by the end of the year and actually built within the decade.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I hope to see it.
And last up, Francesca, what are you most excited about this week?
Well, it was our favorite neighbor's birthday. Wednesday, March 20th would have been Mr. Rogers' 96th birthday.
Aw.
Yes. I feel like for so many, but like especially us Pittsburghers, we have this image and sound seared into our minds of, him walking through the door and singing that familiar tune.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
He trades his sport coat for his cozy sweater and his dress shoes for his sneakers. So he really sets that inviting tone for viewers to enter his home. So to celebrate that, I have a little trivia for you based on an article I wrote all about fun facts about his sweaters. Are yins ready?
You bet.
Yeah, shoot. I feel like I'm going to do terrible at this.
That's okay. Now, you can find this article up on our website, pittsburgh.citycast.fm, but don't cheat. And listeners, you can play along and then find the article in our show notes after. So my first question, where did Mr. Rogers' sweaters come from?
I'm going to guess his personal collection, but Kevin's raising his hand.
Yes, Kevin.
Isn't Megan really correct? Because his personal collection, they were made by his mother.
Yes, exactly.
Wait, really? Mom made them?
Yes. Up until Nancy McFeely Rogers died in 1981, she knitted all of Fred's cardigans that you saw in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Actually, every Christmas, she gave each of her children a hand-knit sweater. So sweet.
That is so sweet. It kind of gives me like the Weasleys, Harry Potter vibes,
Yeah.
Well, that brings that family aspect all together because he wanted his show to be about family and friends. That just adds another touch.
Exactly. All right, good job. Next question. You can find Mr. Rogers' famous sweater at what museum?
I mean, I have a guess, but I don't actually know the answer.
Go for it.
I would say maybe the Heinz History or the Smithsonian, just because they're affiliated.
Oh, there you go. The second one was right. In 1984, Rogers actually donated his cherry red sweater to the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History in D.C. He wore this very cardigan when he actually met then President George W. Bush.
The only man in that era that could wear a cardigan to go meet a sitting president, man.
I know. And I just want to say that was nearly 3 decades after he testified before Congress on the importance of public television. So just kind of taking that full circle there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he wore a cardigan then, though. All right, this is my favorite one. Which color sweater did Mr. Rogers wear the most?
I know this one. At least I think I know this one.
Yeah?
It's not the red.
Oh?
I would have guessed red.
It's blue. That's my guess.
A lot of people would guess red because that's his iconic sweater. And I think you're on the right track, Kevin, but it was actually green.
Oh!
Yes.
Are we counting the black and white days too? Because that's very tough to discern.
Yes. So So this is really cool. A data writer, his name was Owen Phillips, he used information from the neighborhood archive of Mr. Rogers' neighborhood to create this chronological chart tracking the color of every sweater that Rogers wore from 1969 until the show's final episode in 2001. And it's so cool to see the trends of when he was like more in the blue and greens and whites. And then it went more into like bright reds and blues and greens. And so it reveals these like trends and his rotations of his sweaters and how he sort of swapped pastels for darker tones over time. But the takeaway really of this is that his most frequently worn color was green. But guys, Mr. Rogers was actually red-green colorblind. So maybe they were just different shades of brown to him.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yes, did I.
So last one. After the original knitter passed away, we just said it was Mr. Rogers' mom. Where did the show source his sweaters?
This one I have no clue about.
It's not an easy one for sure.
Kevin, you have any idea?
Oh, it wasn't a fan or anybody. Was it just a company that made them and tried to duplicate them?
Kind of, but they weren't trying to duplicate them. So after Nancy died, the art director of the show, her name was Kathy Borland, she was tasked with finding these replacements. They had to have the same cozy, vibrant feel and that smooth zip, because it couldn't snag on camera. And she eventually found a suitable sweater when she actually saw a USPS worker walking in Pittsburgh. She was just like, wow, that would work. So she got a supply of white sweaters from the Postal Service and dyed them. And I think that this is just a fun connection when you think about the show's mail carrier character, Mr. McFeely.
How many sweaters did Fred Rogers need? Like, did they have to be replaced all that often?
Honestly, I don't know, but I mean, of course, Mr. Rogers needed a full catalog of sweaters. Like, I love
he can
that.
have something fresh. I support it. I just wonder how many he actually went through over all those years.
Yeah.
And was the red sweater that they donated to the Smithsonian, was it red sweater number 12, 23, or the very first one? That's what I want to know.
Right.
I hope it was one of Mom's.
It was one of Mom's. We can say that. So that's really cool. Thanks for playing, guys.
Fun.
Of course.
About one of our favorites.
Well, before we go, we love to end our Friday shows with a little extra joy. What's something that Yins are looking forward to over the next week or so?
I know we've talked about it a couple times on the podcast now, but gosh, I am just so excited for the opening of a Woman's Place exhibit at the Heinz History Center Museum. It's officially open tomorrow, and I just can't wait to see all of the artifacts and just be in this room with all of these stories about women who have made their impact on Pittsburgh, including the Women's Press Club, which I'm a part of. And
You're the president of.
Yes. So it's going to be really fun and exciting. Just a reminder that exhibit goes all the way until October. So there's a lot of opportunity to visit. I promise I'll try not to talk about it too much, but I'm just so excited.
No, it's really great in full circle. Francesca and I'll take you behind the scenes just a teeny bit. We're lucky to sit in a room with the curators and some of the great minds over at Heinz many months ago and talk about like possibilities for this thing. I was just lucky to ride your coattails, Francesca. So it was really cool to be in that room, and it's going to be even better to stand among like the things that we were talking about as like big ideas. Like they were just thoughts, and the curators have made it real. So we're excited to see it ourselves.
Yeah, honored to have you there then, and honored to have you there now. Thank you, Megan.
I am so looking forward to the exhibit as a whole and what the Women's Press Club and you, Francesca, have created as a part of it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Totally agree. Kevin, what about you? What's bringing you joy for the next few days?
Well, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, everybody, fingers crossed, that my Duquesne Dukes get a couple of wins in the tournament. If not, then I'll be binge watching games all weekend. As I said, the best time of the year for college sports, for any sport for that matter.
And then mine, I guess, is selfish. Next week, our team is going to be whole again. Sophia has been low-key on vacation for a few weeks now, though you've still been hearing her excellent work. And our executive producer, Mallory, is officially back from family leave. And I am just really stoked to have the band all back together again. It's going to be good times.
Wonderful. But you guys, I have to tell you, you haven't missed a beat in the absence.
Very kind of you, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. It means a lot. Thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure, anytime.
That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. And an update since we first recorded, I was wrong. The Duquesne Dukes got an upset. They beat BYU 71-67, and I have never been so happy to be completely incorrect. Kevin watched the game late, but boy, was he a happy guy. Duquesne's second round game, their very first since 1969, will be on Saturday. Our music is by Benji, who is also a Duquesne alum. Mary Lee Williams is our outgoing producer. Actually, Kevin and I have both been lucky enough to work with her in this way. And Mary Lee, I gotta say, it has been such a joy. Your care for people and thoughtfulness for news, not to mention your very rigorous fact-checking, have been such a boon for the team. And I will miss your wit, your humor, your snark, your ever-present appreciation for both colorful garments and colorful personalities. You have truly made us better every day that you've been here, which means that we are officially welcoming back Mallory Falk, and she's brought with her our newest little listener and my kiddo's next best friend. The show is produced this week by Sophia Lowe, Lizzie Goldsmith, Elizabeth Kama, and Grant Irving. Francesca Dabecco writes that Hey Pittsburgh newsletter, and I am your host, Megan Harris. We will be back on Monday with more news from around the city. Have a good weekend of good news. You looked into going to the tournament, like at least to the Pittsburgh games. How much were tickets?
It was per ticket, but for all 6 games, they do 3 sessions, 2 games. It was about $800. But I checked before we started recording this, and you can get them on StubHub for about $280, $290 right now.
So face value was $800 a few weeks ago, and it's gone down to $200 now?
It's about $280. That's the last thing I saw before doing this.
Well, it's probably cheaper now because some of those games are over.